This is the assembly video for the bird tower. So we've got all the pieces laid out here. There's two little subsections. So we've got the actual tower portion over here, and then over here is the base portion. So we're going to start with the tower. First thing we usually do is put all the velvet onto the different deflector walls. So there's 4 different primary deflector walls here. 3 of these are identical, and then you got the one that's a little bit shorter. And then we've got the bottommost kickout wall that has its own velvet pieces and a little bit unique. So we'll start by putting these on. So this is just the adhesive backed. So just want to line it up on the front edge. Front edge being the angled edge. So I just want to do all of them like this. So this is the leading edge here. It's going to be down in the tower like this. Just get all these put on first. So this is the one shorter deflector wall. It's only got 2 of the tabs on each side. Up. So on this one, I like to line up the bottom edge here. Deflector wall velvet. So it's all laser cut, should match the plywood. And then this last one, I generally hold off. I mean, you could, if you put this piece in, but we'll get to that one. So we'll hold off on that one. So first piece we're going to start with is the back wall, and we're actually going to turn it over. And we're going to start putting in the various deflector walls. So first one we go in is the short one with the only 2 tabs. So we're going to put glue here. We're going to pop this in right here. So we're using Gorilla Glue. You can use Type Bond or Elmer's glue, doesn't really matter. It's kind of personal preference. Just whatever wood glue you like. And try not to go too excessive on this so you're not getting it on the velvet. But it kind of helps sometimes if you do have the glue on the back of this to kind of angle it in like this, so when you insert it in, it squishes the glue out the back side instead of towards the velvet. So this is one of the 3 slightly larger deflector walls. Put all three of these in right now. Should look like this. So you got all the primary deflector walls in, they're all at the angle to where you have the cutout portion pointing down. And at this point, we can take the acrylic, and you have the one side that's got the edge on it. We're actually going to turn that over. We're going to peel the backing off. So what I'll do a lot of the time now is actually put some tape on the front edge of this so you can, well, we'll put it in place first. So this just drops on those deflector walls, so you can kind of wiggle them into position. And just kind of fall into place here once you get it all. Right. Yeah, so just like that. So now I'll take a little bit of the painter's tape. Use this to kind of help hold everything together at times, but if you put a couple strips on the front edge, makes it so you can handle it without getting fingerprints all over. Just something to where you can grab it. So at this point we look like this. So now we're going to start on the side walls. So we're going to do the left side wall first. So we're going to turn it this way. And this is the left side wall. So this is going to drop in just like this. But we're going to put glue on these little valleys here first. We don't put any glue on the acrylic side just because it'd get all over the place and you'd be able to see it. But it's going to get all locked into where you don't really need it anyway. Get it lined up. Push everything together. We're going to go back and wipe the excess glue off the back. So before we put that in, we need to put the kick-out walls in place. So this goes here and here. So these nest in together and they drop in like that. You can kind of get this one in started and then leave this one in most of the time. So we'll get glue on this one. Drop in right here. You don't want to be pushing down on the table because it's a little bit, there's a standoff right here that will add additional pieces on later on. So you want to put pressure from your hand on the other side so it's not popping out of the original glue set. Just like that. And then we'll nest this one in. So again, this goes to where this portion is facing down towards the other one. It'll weave into that cutout. Here. Kind of move this one out of the way a little bit. like that. Again, wipe off any excess glue. And now we're going to put the other side on. So it's going to go just like this again. So I'm going to put glue on all these valleys going along. Get it lined up and just kind of work our way down. We gotta get it lined up. So it should look like this at this point. So now we're gonna do the side decorative pieces here. So this one's gonna drop down on top of these 4 little posts, and it's going to follow the curvature of the tower. So what we're going to do is just put glue basically all along this thing. Just like that. And it's going to drop right on. Wipe off any excess that kind of kicked out. Flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. So again, just like the other one, follows the curvature of the tower. Line it on the 4 posts. Just pop it into place. And clean up any excess. And then last for the tower, we're going to do the roof. So there's 2 different sections to the roof. This one here is going to go on the left side when looking at the face of the tower. And this one goes on the right. We need to put the right one on first because it's going to nest inside the left one. This one's going to have just a little bit of glue going down. Again, we're not putting it on the acrylic because you don't want to see the glue. Goes in just like that. And if you wanted to add a little bit of glue along the inside edge there, you could. It's not super critical. So now that that's on, the other side, left side here, is going to capture that one and lock it in a little bit better. So make sure we have a good glue up on this part since it is small portion and it's kind of locking the roof line together. That's the tower portion. So we're going to set this off to the side right now, and we're going to work on the base portion of it. So first thing we need to do is we're going to attach the hinge assembly to the sides. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these pieces and we're going to install them into these wheels. So there's 2 of these. Assembly process is exactly the same for each one. We have 3 of these little standoffs on each side. So we'll just basically glue these in place. It's easier to put the glue on the wheel portion first sometimes, just because it's kind of small. So it should look just like that. I'll let that dry for a second. Do the other one. Yeah, so most of this isn't going to be visible, but just still trying to clean it up as much as we can. So let that one dry up. This one, the Gorilla Glue cures pretty quick, so or sets up pretty quick. So we'll get started on this part. So we've got this little sub-assembly. We're going to take the post and we're going to just insert it into here. So it's sticking out on this side. Then we're going to put glue all the way around on this thing, and we're going to stick it into here. This is the back side of the side wall where the decorative outlines are on the other side. So this will just insert right into here. Just kind of line it all up, pump that in. And then as best you can, get in there, try to clean up any excess glue that's squishing out. It's a little bit hard to get into this one. So you can use the shaft of some of the longer Q-tips. So we're gonna do the same thing on the other side now. So I'll put the little post in, push that through. Glue on all three of these. And line it into the side. Just like that. So we'll start on this sides. And we're gonna put the bottom floor, so this is the front edge of the bottom floor. So pick whichever side you like better. The other side's gonna get covered up with the velvet as it gets folded over. So we're just gonna put this facing out like this. So this side, the far side will be visible, this side will be covered up. I'm gonna put this on. Just glue in the valleys again. Like that. Rock it back and forth, get it nice and tight. Wipe up the excess glue. We're gonna get this set into this one here first. On this side here, and this is going to insert right into here. Try not to mess with the wheel too much, just because it is still curing. But this doesn't bother it. But at this point, we're going to assemble the front wall section here. So the way this is going to work is we're going to build up this little sub-assembly first, and then we're going to drop it into position here. So first thing we're going to need is this little piece here. It's in the baggie. This is going to get dropped into this piece here. So on that one. This one, don't really have to worry about cleaning that up because we're about to put glue on the back. What's going to happen is this is going to go in here and it's going to cover up these holes here. So I want to try to position it to where we get some glue on there, but we don't necessarily want it getting in these holes since we know that's where it's going to go. So we're just going to line that like that. Push that into position, just like that. So, squished out the back. So it should look like this. So the next piece to go in is we're going to put this one. So this is the middle front wall. It's going to go on this one here. It's going to pop in just like this. We're going to put glue basically all the way around on the back of this one. Like that. We'll just drop it in on that center post. Helps get everything aligned. There we go. Make sure the pieces are twisted and the bottom edges are all aligned right. So when this sets up, no issue putting in the next part. You got a little bit of wiggle on this thing. There we go. So the next part we're going to put in is there's a small post that's going to be for the lock mechanism. So this is going to drop in right here. I'm just going to put it in and we're going to put a little bit of glue on it. We can drop the center wheel over the top of that, squish that down, and then we're going to clean up all that glue that's squished out because it's going to be a pivot joint here. We do not want that glue in the lock mechanism shut. So make sure that's all clean. And then we can drop in the actual lock. So you want it in this orientation to where when the unlocked position is exposed, it's flat along the bottom. You go to the locked position, you get the curved portion in the bottom. So what we're gonna do is put just a little tiny bit of glue on this. We don't want very much because you don't want it squishing out onto the actual locking mechanism itself. And then we're gonna put glue all along the face of this wall, or this piece here. Again, you don't want it too close to the lock mechanism, just so it doesn't get in there when it squishes. Something like that. So this is going to go onto here. You can pick whichever side looks nicer because it's going to be outside. Line up that little tab. Pop it in. And wipe off any excess glue. And then for the alignment, we're going to immediately jump into putting this in so it'll align itself before that glue sets. So you get glue in all these little valleys. I'm going to drop this in. Just like that. Get it squished into position here. And clean up any excess glue. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing on the other side, but we have to put the tower in position first. So the tower is going to drop in and this little hole is going to ride on the post. So we'll move this over so we can align that. Just kind of eyeball it in position, just like that. And then this mating side is going to line up here. You're going to get it lined up while we're putting this all together. So this is the tricky part. Get glue on this one. Just like that. Line up this side first. It's got more of the features on it. It's definitely the harder part to line up. And then as we're going, we're going to kind of pick this up. And we're going to position that pin inside the hole, just like that. And then maneuver all these into position. Get everything nice and tight. Go back, clean up all the excess glue. The very last thing we got to do is put the last piece of velvet in. So what I'll do for this one usually is start, once you get it peeled off, kind of align it with that bottom edge right here, and then work it into position here. Get it lined up to where it's right along that edge, and it's following this edge perfectly without any gaps forming. And just kind of work it forward until it tucks down to where it's the front edge of that is flush with the front here. As long as you go all the way across, you get all the ripples out. Also have a little square tool or something to push down the front edge sometimes. Take the tape off. And we have our bird tower.